Zinedine Zidane has been formally hired as France national team head coach 28 years after winning the World Cup for France as a player. Zidane has replaced Didier Deschamps, who was in charge for 14 years and helped lead France to the 2018 World Cup title and the 2022 World Cup final. French Federation President Philippe Diallo announced that Zidane was signing a 4-year deal, would take him through the Euros in 2028 and, of course, the World Cup in 2030. This will be obviously his first ever national team coaching job, but he had loads of success managing Real Madrid to 3 straight Champions League titles during his time as manager. Let's listen in now to Zinedine Zidane in his introductory press conference on Tuesday.
Ce que je peux vous dire, c'est que je suis animé par le jeu. Enfin, j'étais un numéro 10. Moi, ce qui m'anime, c'est d'aller marquer des buts. Bien sûr, il faut un équilibre d'équipe, c'est forcément, ça c'est plus important, mais ce qui m'anime, c'est le jeu. Voilà. J'ai vécu 25 ans en Espagne, donc vous savez ce que ça veut dire. Donc voilà, j'ai commencé par la France et j'étais, comme je vous ai dit, je suis un numéro 10 et donc moi sur le terrain j'étais un leader de terrain, et aujourd'hui je vais devenir leader par mon expérience, par ce que j'ai fait, parce que je crois être maintenant comme entraîneur. Je voudrais bien sûr féliciter, comme vous l'avez dit, Dédé et tout son staff, bien entendu, pour ces 14 années remarquables. Je veux simplement lui dire, Dédé, bravo pour tout ce que tu as fait. De toute façon, voilà, tout le monde est reconnaissant avec le travail que tu as fait. Donc voilà, je voulais te féliciter. C'est l'occasion pour moi pour te dire bravo. Et maintenant, il y a quelque chose, une autre étape qui va s'ouvrir avec notre staff, avec d'autres personnes, mais toujours pour la même chose, c'est-à-dire voir l'équipe de France gagner.
So this is a move that we expected, that after Deschamps was going to come in, it would-be Zidane that would take over. Does it mean even more? Is it even more important that he's taking over now after the heavy favorites going into the World Cup in France, failed to win the World Cup, and now there's even more excitement on this new project under Zinedine Zidane?
Look, first and foremost, this is French football and royalty. I'm going to put this out there. He's the greatest player to ever wear the Le Bleu jersey. He won them a World Cup in their own land, Stefano. So this is significant to have the greatest player of a footballing nation, a footballing icon, now in charge of the national team. I think French football needs this. I think this group needs a refresher, because we saw some of the limit of what was perceived as limitless potential for Le Bleu at this World Cup. They have amazing individuals, but when you talk about managers, I put Carlo Ancelotti, who has this gift of whispering in players' ears. He is the player whisperer as well. During his time at Real Madrid, what Zinedine Zidane did at the club level was he was able to put egos at the door and unite them under a common front, which is respect. There's a video that's done about 6 million rounds on social media, has gone viral. His first time walking in the Real Madrid locker room, every single player, players like Cristiano Ronaldo, who had won Champions League titles, mind you, got up and shook his hand. Sergio Ramos, who had won a World Cup, got up and shook his hand. So there's an aura about him. There's a class personified. And when you look at some of the players like a Kylian Mbappe, Michael Olise, Ousmane Dembele, Ryan Cherki, who he has to change his attitude, but so many of the top and gifted players of this Le Bleu side, there is no greater master of football and master of elegance to lead the way. So much talent, but they need to realize this potential at the next major competition, which is going to be the European Championship.
Without a doubt, and so many of these players grew up idolizing Zidane, right? And we've seen so many managers, especially recently, former players that become managers that struggle. Zidane didn't do that. He came in and absolutely commanded respect from moment one and had so much success for Real Madrid. So based on what you've seen when he was the manager of Madrid, winning all those trophies, what difference can you expect to see from the French side under Deschamps to now under Zidane?
So the thing with Zinedine Zidane that I think is going to be different is there is one player who I think is made to play for Zidane, and that's Michael Olise, where Didier Deschamps oftentimes Antoine Griezmann is that second striker playing in that number 10 role. You remember the 2018 World Cup. You even remember the recent World Cup final before this one against your favorite Argentina. Antoine Griezmann was a leader. He was a difference maker, but he wasn't an attacking midfielder. Michael Olise is a player that Zizou came out prior to taking the job, and when he saw Olise, he said, voila, magnifique. That is the sort of player that can change and revolutionize the French national team. We saw the connection with Olise and Kylian Mbappe. I personally think that Michael Olise will become Zizou's crowning jewel, much in the ways that we saw Luka Modric do it for Real Madrid, and also the influence of a Toni Kroos, which he had at Madrid. So his ability to get a midfield that was complete at Madrid, I think that France could use that revolution from Zizou with this crop of players.
And it is fair because the talent is there. This team is spoiled with riches when it comes to talent. But it was about playing as a team, playing as a unit. Do you think it is that midfield that needs the biggest development as a team for this French national team? Because the goals are simple. They need to win every competition that they're in. That is the level that France is expected to play at this point. So that's where you think that the biggest impact for Zidane will be?
I think it's going to be throughout the entire team. I start with Kylian Mbappe, where Mbappe is going to continue to get his goals. I mean, he's rewriting the record books. But the one thing I still want to see, and I actually went to the France-Sweden match, I saw Kylian Mbappe that was walking into the mantle as a leader, not just a captain. There's a difference between a captain and being a leader. He looked every bit of the part of leadership on the field, where he had so many moments that he was willing to run for his teammates. I mentioned Michael Olise. I would love to see an Ousmane Dembélé that looks like the Ousmane Dembélé that we see for PSG. A Baden Ousmane Dembélé, and you cannot question Dembélé's talent. But in the big moments for France, we are still waiting for Ousmane Dembélé to put in consistent, complete performances, much like we saw glimpses of at this World Cup. But to finally answer your question, this France side, they need reinforcements at the back. Jules Koundé going into the next European Championship and definitely going into the next World Cup. If you're Zizou, you need upgrades. You need young talent coming through. There's quality in the under-21 side, and we saw the limit of players like Luca Digne. I feel for Luca Digne because I thought he had an exceptional just cameo when he became the starter for France at the World Cup. Had a nightmare against Spain. So it'll be interesting to see come the Nations League this fall which players' confidence are back up, which players show their character, which players show their value. And one player that needs a hard look in the mirror is Ryan Cherki. There's a lot made about Ryan Cherki's potential, Ryan Cherki's ability. He is a gifted footballer. He's a generational talent. But his application, his mentality is something I question on the international stage. So if you're Zizou, use that player whispering power to just embody and embolden and empower around Cherki. I wouldn't be surprised if he sends a message to him in the very first Nations League window and doesn't call him up to get that character check, because he's not afraid to make big decisions as well. As much as he's a unifier, he doesn't mess around. He's got a competitive edge. He's got chip on his shoulder. Ask Materazzi. He found out the hard way in 2006.
I'm glad you mentioned that. That's fantastic. It is true. If anyone can motivate a French player, it's Zinedine Zidane, especially players from this era.